welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me on today. Today I just wanted to sit and talk with you all about something I have been dealing with for the last 2.5 to 3 months. I have not really talked to a lot of people about it besides my immediate circle. But I thought I was ready to share and talk about it now. So, we're going to talk about it. I hope you have been enjoying the videos I have been sharing of me singing, spreading Christmas, holiday cheer, some joy, some love, some, comfort, encouragement for this season during this pandemic. I hope you all are enjoying that, and there are more videos of singing to come. So stay tuned, be patient, and submit some requests, some song requests. All right. So I wanted to talk about an incident that happened to me back in September. I have not talked to a lot of people about it. I have not really talked about it or how I feel about it or what I've been dealing with since it's happened. So I kind of just wanted to go ahead and talk about it today and just share some light on where I am with it. And I know you're wondering, what is the it? And so we're going to, get right into it. Mid-September of 2020, this year, I was carjacked by gunpoint. And I was at the time 37 weeks pregnant. So I was like poking out there. And so that happened mid-September. It was like the week after my sister had her baby. I was helping her because my mom was out of town, so I was using my mom's car to, make sure my sister was good throughout the week. I went there and cooked a meal or two so that she would have some food or kids would have food, because we didn't want her going up and down the steps, because at my mom's house there are 1,000,000 steps. So to minimize that, it was a little rotation of people coming over and making sure her and the baby were taken care of, as well as her other 2 kids. So on this particular day, it was a Wednesday, and it was about, so this day, I normally work in the salon Mondays and Wednesdays. I left the salon about, I would say, 7:45-ish. Stopped and got me some dinner. This is in the evening, so 7:45 p.m. I stopped and got me something to eat. I was headed to my cousin to do his hair, because normally I would go to him to do his hair because it would only take me about 30 minutes. It would be quicker than just to go to him, do it, and go home. But on this particular day, that didn't necessarily happen. So I left the salon about 7:30, 7:45 after doing my last client. And I packed my stuff up, had everything in the front seat of the car, because I knew I was going to get right back out. So I have this big, tall case. So it's like a, like how makeup artists have this traveling makeup case where it's rolling and everything, and it has like 5 compartments. That's what I have for my hair stuff. We all know that I do hair. So I was going to do his color because it was around his birthday time, and we wanted to do trial and error before his birthday came up to make sure we had the right color, everything did what it was supposed to do, and we had enough time to correct any issues that may arise from it. So I go and get dinner from Checkers, and I go to his apartment, and I parked outside, so right on the side of his apartment. And I was like, so I parked outside, right at the stop sign, and I never took the keys out the ignition. I turned the car off though, but I never took the key out the ignition. I had, like I said, all my stuff was in the front seat. I had a briefcase that had my laptop for school in it, and had a few things in there. Any homework I was working on, it was in there. All my keys that I had. and whatever. So while I'm sitting there, waiting, now it's about, I would say 8:30 something. No, yeah, I would say about 8:30 something p.m. This happened in DC. It was about 8:30 something p.m. and I was sitting there. I had just texted him and said, "Hey, I'm outside. I'm gathering my stuff. I'll be up in a minute." And so while I was sitting there, a shadow came from my left peripheral vision. Y'all, I don't know where these people came from. It was two guys. I don't know where these two guys came from, because they never came from in front of me. I never saw them walking up the street. They just came from the side, and I saw them in my mirror, in my peripheral vision too. So I watched the shadows go behind my car and go right here. This is where I'm parked right here. This mirror right here is the side of the apartment building. They stood, okay, no. So they were walking back and forth on the sidewalk. And I was sitting there, so I was watching them because you could tell they were kind of scoping out the place or whatever. So I began to become uncomfortable. I was watching what they were doing, but I was trying to do it subtly so that, it didn't seem like I was just watching them like a hawk. I would just like glance out the corner of my eye. And so I called my cousin and I was like, "Hey, it's two guys out here. I'm not comfortable. Can you come and get me? I'm not getting out the car until you come and get me." And so he was like, "Okay, I'm coming." Literally, the guys didn't know I was on the phone because I didn't put the phone up to my face. I didn't have him on speaker, nothing. I had earpods in my ear. So, I was just talking, or it could have looked like I was singing or something, whatever. But as soon as I hung up the phone, like, it was a good, I would say, minute interval. One of the guys came around the front of my car and came to my window, pointed the gun at my window, and was like, "Give me everything you got." Y'all, the only thing I did when I saw it, I looked up, I said, "Oh," and I got out. I took my seatbelt off, and I got out the car. The key was already in the ignition. You didn't need enough from me. I dropped my phone, so it was in the car somewhere. My wallet was in the car somewhere because, mind you, I had been eating. So I set everything down. I just jumped and was like, "Oh," and I got up and got out. The guy, I don't even remember who opened the door, whether it was him or me. All I know was I got out the car, he stepped back, didn't say nothing else to me. He just told me, "Give me everything you got." I got out like that. I walked around the back of the car. Mind you, this is my mom's car. It wasn't even my car. I walked around the back of the car and I stood on the wall. Y'all, I was so in shock and wasn't really processing what was happening. I just stood where they were standing when they was watching me. So I stood there while they struggled because it was another guy. He came to the passenger side once, the guy got the car from me. He came to the passenger side. I sat there and watched them struggle to figure out how to unlock the door so that the other guy could get in. Mind you, I'm standing there. The guy had just put this gun to my head and was like, "Give me all you got." I give him the car and I'm standing there. I'm not running. I'm not frantic. I didn't argue. I didn't say anything. I'm just standing there. So the other guy that was getting in on the passenger side was like, "Hey, don't be standing there watching us." Oh, okay. Soon as he said that, I walked towards the front of the building. You don't have to tell me nothing twice. I got it. I walked towards the front of the building, and I'm still not really processing it or anything. So soon as he said that, they must have figured out how to get the car open, and they sped off in the opposite direction of where I was walking. So it was a car that was coming around the corner as they were taking the car from me. But what it looked like was as if we were exchanging cars. It didn't look like they were robbing me because it was not hostile. It was no force. It was no injury. It was nothing. Like, they just, he came and asked for the car. I got up. I gave it. I didn't say a mumbling word. And that was it. So it looked to the other person as if we just swapping out drivers. Nah. I flagged down the lady and I was like, excuse me, can you call 911 please? And she was like, well, what's wrong? And I was like, can you please call 911? They just took my car. And she was like, they carjacked you? And I was like, yes, can you please call 911? Now, y'all, this was a night where it was raining. So I had on a summer dress because it's the end of summer. So I had on this summer dress, just straps, no sleeves, nothing covering me, nothing. I left everything in the car. And I'm pregnant. So she's like, well, ma'am, let's go to the front of the building, walk towards the building, front of the building, and I'm gonna call them, but walk to the front of the building because you're getting wet. I don't want you to get wet. And so my mind is going a mile a minute. So I'm like, no, I'm going to walk to the front of the building because if they decide to come back around and do a shootout, they're not shooting me. So I go towards the front of the building and I just forget about the lady calling the police. I went looking for my cousin because it happened so fast. He didn't even have a chance to get out there. So I went inside, found him, and I was like, hey, yo, you have to call the police. Like, can you call the police right now? And he was like, what's wrong, Bree? What's wrong? And I'm like, they just took my car. And he's like, for real? I'm like, call 911. So he's calling 911 or whatever. And this is where I'm starting to process what happened. I still wasn't fully processing it. I just was like partially processing it enough to know that it was something, everything was wrong. This wasn't supposed to be happening. So the police came and everything, and I didn't call my husband first because I wasn't in my car. I called my mom because it was her car, and I had planned to take the car back to her that night once I finished doing his hair. And I was like, Mom, and that's when the waterworks started. I broke down crying. That's when it really hit me, but it didn't hit me like, oh, I just got robbed. It hit me like, your car is gone, and it happened while it was in my possession. I'm more worried about the car and my mom than I was worried about myself at the time. Like, I guess I was just thinking that, okay, you know, I'm alive, we're good. Now your car is gone. This is your everyday car. You left it for me to, you know, be able to use while you were gone to make sure I took care of business. And here we are. You don't have this car anymore. So I broke down crying. I'm like, Mom, they took your car and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, Brianna, are you okay? And let me say this. If you hear a lot of noise in my background, it's my kids and their father downstairs playing. So sorry in advance. But anyway, yeah, so I called my mom and I'm like, they took your car and they took everything. And she's like, who took my car? What are you talking about, Brianna? Calm down. And I'm like, they took the car, and I'm all hyperventilating. I'm like, you know, so she's like, okay, but are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. They didn't hurt me. I'm okay. And so I'm starting to calm down to try and talk to her about, you know, what happened. While I'm still answering questions to the detective, the investigators, and all the people that came to question me, I was answering their questions, walking them through the entire thing that happened. They was asking me, did I remember this and did I remember that? Child, when I saw that gun, I didn't remember nothing. I remember getting up and getting out. I don't remember, they were like, did they have a mask on? I don't know. I would hope so because we're in a pandemic and everybody was supposed to have on a mask, but I don't remember. I don't even remember if I had on a mask at that time. But I remember they had on dark clothing. They were black young men about my age, and they probably was my weight wet. Of course, I was pregnant at the time, so they probably was my weight before pregnancy. But they were young. And I don't know. I don't know. They were young. And that's all I could really tell them. I didn't remember what I saw on their faces. They was asking for tattoos and stuff. I'm like, they're covered. I don't know. I don't remember that stuff. They had on hats and a hoodie. So I didn't know what their hair was like. I just knew they were dark skinned and young guys between the ages of 21 to 27, and they were small, my height, 5'6", whatever. And they took the car at gunpoint. That's what I remember. All this other extra stuff, I don't remember none of that. I didn't even know if the gun was real or not. All I know was it was pointing at me, and that's all that had to happen. So, of course, my dad comes to make sure I'm okay. My husband came because he not only did he come to make sure I was okay, he had to, take me home. I no longer had a car. And, I'm still trying to process this thing. They had to come and swab me because they wanted to, once they got the car, they processed it so they can eliminate any DNA that was mine, my mom's, and my stepdad's. Any other DNA besides that, then it was geared towards the suspects that took the car. It was just a long night, a very long night. And I did not process it that night, everything that happened or that it really happened. The only thing I was more so grateful for was that I was alive. That's all I could think about at that moment was I was alive. It took days and weeks before I really processed that it really happened. And I say that because, okay, so that was a Wednesday. I got carjacked on a Wednesday. They found my mother's car the next day. She got it back that Friday. That Friday morning, another incident happened to me. I was getting ready to go to my doctor's appointment for my 37-week checkup. And mind you, y'all, I go to the doctor's early because I got to go all the way out Georgetown or whatever. So my appointment was like at 8 o'clock. So it's like 7 something in the morning, and it takes me about almost an hour to get there. So it's 7 or so in the morning. I'm driving. I stopped at the gas station first, and then I proceeded to go to the doctor's office. I get on 210. I get to the exit 228 to go to Waldorf, or you keep straight down 210 going towards, the Beltway. So I stayed on. I didn't take the exit. Y'all, I don't know where this truck came from. I never saw it on my way to my destination, which I never made. And I don't know. I don't know where he came from. I was driving. Here is the light, the street light that stops the cars. It's a car in front of me at the light, and then it's me in my truck. Mind you, this is a whole different incident, a whole nother day, and I'm in my white truck now. So it's a car in front of me, and on this side is where you can bear off to the right so that you can go to 228, go towards Waldorf. Well, this big white tow truck came out of nowhere, sped around my car, in front of the car that was in front of me, blocked the whole lane. Mind you, this is at 7 something in the morning, y'all. Blocked the whole lane so that my lane could not go anywhere. The light was still red, and his car is all behind me and on the side. This guy, black guy, gets out of his car, out of the truck, and he is walking with a purpose, y'all. I'm not being over dramatic. I'm being dead serious. He was walking with a purpose. He bypassed the first car that was in front of me and came to my car. So I'm sitting here taking my seatbelt off because I don't know what I'm about to have to do. I'm taking my seatbelt off. He's standing at my window. If my door was unlocked, I'm pretty sure he would have opened it. He's standing at my window looking at me. I'm looking at him like this. He's looking at me while I'm taking my seatbelt off. I'm still looking at him. He looked back at me, and then he goes, "Oh, I thought you was somebody else." Walks off, walks around his truck, opens the hood of his truck as if, I guess, it was broke down. Now, at first, I'm thinking this guy is about to go to the car in front of me because I didn't call for a tow truck. I don't need a tow truck. I'm going to the doctor's. And so I'm thinking that's what's about to happen. But then he was walking with purpose towards me. So I'm like, okay, what's about to happen? I don't know who he was looking for. I don't know what he was looking for. All I know was whoever he was looking for and whatever he was about to do, he was about to handle some business because he had a sole purpose. Now, the difference between Wednesday's incident where I was carjacked by gunpoint and Friday's incident where I had someone approach me was the fact that Wednesday, they were not in any rush to go anywhere. The difference between Wednesday's incident and Friday's incident was that on Wednesday when I was carjacked by gunpoint, those guys were not in a rush for anything. When they found the car, they hadn't gone anywhere. They went like across the street or something. They found the car like a couple of blocks away, and they went for a joyride. Didn't even use the gas, nothing. They went for a joyride. I don't know what they did with my stuff, but hey, that's all replaceable. My life isn't. But the guy on Friday, he was out with a purpose. So if he had a gun on him, whoever he was looking for, he was about to handle them. I was about to get handled, y'all, and I don't even know for what. So I'm like, tow truck people are carrying these days because they repossess people's cars and all that stuff, and people come after them. Now, I'm like, my car wasn't up for repossession or anything. This isn't tied to the incident that happened prior to because this is a whole nother car, a whole nother area, period. I don't know where he came from. That's number one. So I left my house. It was nobody behind me or anything. And I went to the gas station. There was no tow truck at the gas station. From the gas station to the light at 228 where the guy, approached me, that's about a 7-minute, 8-minute drive. From the gas station to there, I don't know where this man came from. I just saw him when he pulled up beside. So when he went back to his car, I sped around the car that was in front of me so quick. I didn't even look to see in the other lane if any cars were coming or anything. I thank God that there weren't, but I didn't look or didn't care. I was getting up out of there. So now I'm like, okay, so mind you, I don't even have a phone for real. So I'm trying to work this phone that I found lying around in the house that I had. I always have some kind of backup phone. I just don't use it or whatever. And it's a little whack phone. So I'm trying to call my husband and the phone freezes on me. So I could not get in touch with anybody. I couldn't text nobody. I couldn't call anybody. I didn't bother to call 911 because I didn't look at the guy's tags. And I was trying to get up out of there because I didn't know what he was trying to do. So I drive a little bit. And I started crying because now at this point I'm like, I must got killed me on the top of my forehead. Like somebody's out to get me. Like, for real, that's how I felt. Like, somebody was out to get me. I'm already paranoid. And now for this to happen. So, finally, I drive a little bit more. And then I'm like, no, I'm turning around. I'm going home. Because I don't know if he's still following me or what. So, I turned around, scared to turn around. Because I'm like, what if I pass him going back home and he follows me home? And, whatever happens there. And so I'm like, okay. So, finally, the phone starts to work. And I was able to call my husband. I called him. I was like, I'm not going to my doctor's appointment. I'm coming home. I'm late anyway. They're not going to see me and blah, blah, blah. He's like, what's wrong, Bree? And I'm like, because this guy just came up to me like he was about to hurt me or something. I don't know what happened. He was angry. And I told him the whole ordeal. And then he was just like, okay, calm down. Just get home. So I got home. I was just like, I don't even want to talk. Like, let me just hold the kids for a minute. Let me go in the room, go to sleep, and wake up and try again. Like, that's all I could say. Like, I was like, don't let them come in the room. I just need a moment. I just need a moment to decompress because I don't even know what just really happened. So I got home and I turned on Lucretia Campbell's version of In His Safety. Because if I didn't realize anything before then, I realized afterwards that I definitely was in the safety of God because He definitely had His hands upon my life. If I didn't believe God before, I surely believed Him after all that. Because I'm like, yo, I should have been dead. Like, when they robbed me, the gun could have easily gone off. You know what I mean? Like, that situation alone, not many people walk away from. And so, those are the incidents that happened to me. Now, let me talk about how I'm processing it. I'm still processing it. And I deal with a lot of PTSD behind it and stuff. I don't really talk about it, but I do. I also deal with, I don't even know what it's called, but it is a thing where I pretty much seen every possible outcome that could have happened. Like this child is, I don't know what she's doing. I've seen every ending happening. Meaning, okay, so when he put the gun to the window, to my face, some days I saw me being shot right in the face. Some days I'm driving, and when I look to my left out the window, I see the gun pointed at me, and it startles me. And this is sometimes while I'm driving or sitting still. I imagine the woulda, shoulda, couldas. Meaning, what if I had my children with me, because I travel with my children a lot. It's just that it so happens that the pandemic, I'm grateful that I don't have to take them to work with me anymore. So, they weren't with me. Okay. They weren't with me. But the situation would have been handled so much more differently than it was had my children been with me. Had my children been with me, I probably would be dead, because I'm not getting up out the car without my kids. And you know, you protect your kids. If you are a loving, caring parent, you protect your kids at all costs. So if it cost me my life, that's what it would have cost, and for my kids to be okay. But thank God I did not have my kids with me. They were not with me. I was by myself. I imagine, what if I was not aware of my surroundings? Because I'm very aware of the things that's happening around me. I knew I was in danger. I just didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to happen or when it was going to happen. But I was very aware of what was happening. And I didn't know what was going to happen. What if I had gotten out the car, because I would have had to walk to the passenger side so that I could get all my stuff out the car, which means I would have been vulnerable and open. Like, I would have had my back towards them. They could have come up behind me, you know, done anything, hit me, put the gun to my head, to the back of my head, and I would have tried to fight or something, because at that point, I'm going to have to fight. So, you know, I could have ended up dead. So I've gotten questioned quite a bit about why didn't I just drive off when I saw the guys and stuff. But I didn't drive off because I was in park. My car was turned off. I still would have had to turn the car on and get it out of park and pull off. In my mind, I don't know what these guys are about to do. I don't know what they have. At that time, I didn't know what they had. I just knew they were sitting there watching me, and they were scoping out or waiting for the next opportunity. If I had driven off, would they have shot at the car? Which then would have made a different scenario, because if they shoot me while I'm driving, that's an accident. If they shoot the tires or something while I'm driving, that's an accident. Anything or anybody could have been caught in a crossfire. So I didn't drive off because I was not led to drive off. I just knew that something was not right, you know. I think, to be honest, I was asked what was the lesson that I got out of it and everything. Like, I've been asked quite a bit of questions from this whole incident. And all I can say is the way that I handled the situation was the best way to handle the situation, because I'm alive and I was unharmed. Meaning, when he put that gun to that window, he could have very well shot me anywhere, shot me in the head or whatever, but he didn't. When I got out the car, he could have very well pushed me or yanked me out the car or caused me to fall or something and hurt me and the baby. But he didn't. He stepped aside. I don't even know if I shocked him that I was pregnant. Because I'm so small, you don't notice until I stand up or turn around. So he probably didn't even know I was pregnant. And it probably startled him or shocked him. So he backed up a little bit when I got out the car. He didn't touch me. His friend, or whoever he was to him, didn't touch me. They just, you know, I could have very well been shot or something when I was standing there, you know, or they could have kidnapped me. It's a lot of things that could have happened had I responded differently than what I did. What I did was got up out the car and gave them what they wanted. If they wanted the dress off of my back, they could have gotten the dress, and I just would have been walking around with a big stomach naked. At that point, when you show me a gun, I don't care. You can have whatever you want. You can do whatever. Here, you want this car? You can take the car. If you want to give me my life, you can have it. Now, you know, the lesson I did get out of it was, you know, I have to be more careful. I can't be going and doing people's hair, you know, at their homes and, you know, late at night, blah, blah, blah. I got all that. So the lesson, we don't even need to worry about what the lesson was. I got it. The lesson is, for me, is that I'm alive. And that if I ever doubted God before, I surely don't have to doubt him now. If I ever doubted his presence in my life, I definitely know that he's definitely covering me, because all this could have been left. This whole situation could have gone left quickly, you know. With the situation that happened Friday with the guy approaching the car, what are you doing, baby? Here. Lay down. With the situation of the guy approaching the car, the things that really bothered me was not that he was coming at me. I was scared. Yes, I was scared for my life. If I could have pooped on myself, I would have. But if my husband had been driving the car, not worried about me once again, but worried about the fact that if my husband, a black male, had been driving the car, or even granddad had been driving the car, that situation would have went left so fast, because no male is going to allow somebody to approach them in the manner that I was approached. No one, and walk away without something happening. So either you about to approach this car and you're going to have to go ahead and put up a fight because it's you approaching another male, or you're going to have to shoot, or whatever the case is, because you're not walking away without something happening had it been a male. Or had it been another female that's about that life. I'm not about that life. I'm not fitting to do all that stuff. Like, now, if I had a gun on me or something, I probably would have shot the person, because I'm scared for my life. But knowing I didn't have anything to protect me at that time, besides God, I just was looking. I didn't even know what to do. I just was looking. Like, yo, do you think I'm your baby mother? Do you think I just took my car off your lot or something? Like, who were you looking for at 7 a.m. in the morning? What were you looking for? What happened at 7 a.m. in the morning? You know, that's the stuff that was going through my mind. So, you know, in both scenarios, I really wasn't worried about me at the moment, which is a lot of times the case. I'm always worried about making sure everybody else is good. And I didn't even think about myself in these moments. And now I'm starting to think about myself, be more intentional about the things that I do, where I'm going, how I'm going, you know, what I'm doing when I'm going and stuff. Like, it's just so much now that plays into my mind about the whole thing. So once that happened, y'all, I can't even, like, in the beginning, I joked a lot with my mom and my sisters because we talk on a group chat every day. And, you know, when we're going in transition to different places, we're on the phone. For one reason, so someone knows where we're going. And another reason is to make sure we get to our destination safely. And it just so happened those 2 days I was not on the phone with anybody. But after that happened, I was scared to go to the stores. I was scared to drive down the street. I was like, oh no, I'm not about to go nowhere. I really haven't been to DC. Okay, I lied. I just went to DC 2 weeks ago to sing at a funeral for the first time since this situation happened. It's been almost 3 months, or it has been 3 months now since the situation happened. And the first time I went to DC by myself driving, and actually went into the area where it happened, was 2 weeks ago when I had to sing at a funeral. Other than that, I have not stepped foot into DC. I barely want to step foot into a grocery store or anything. Like, that's where I was. And that's where I am now. Like, I'm a little paranoid. When I would go somewhere, I would joke with my mom and them and be like, oh, I gotta make sure ain't nobody following me. I gotta make sure ain't nobody out to get me. You know, but in all seriousness, I was serious. I was joking, but I was serious because I was making light of the situation to help me cope, or to help me get to where I need to go and do what I needed to do so I could get back home by any means possible. So if that meant, okay, y'all gonna sit on this phone with me until I get to my destination and I'm gonna joke about my situation, or, you know, I'm not going. And that's where I was. It got into the point where y'all know we wearing these masks and stuff. And continue to wear your mask, please. Be safe. Don't be stupid. But I went to the Dollar General right by my house. It's literally like a turn from my house. I sat in the parking lot and I pulled up beside this car. And it was a couple in the car. The guy had on this mask that was like a skeleton mask. Y'all, I thought he was about to rob the place. I'm not even gonna hold you. I thought he was about to rob the place. I freaked out in my mind. So when I'm dealing with situations, if they're big, intense situations, I never freak out. I never process it the way it should be processed at that moment. I'm always calm. I'm always complying, or doing whatever it is. I don't go against anything. I'm doing whatever you're asking, whatever. In big situations, I'm very calm. But in my mind, I am not. Inside, internally, I am freaking out. I am tripping. I'm thinking of every last thing that can happen in this moment in a matter of seconds. So When I looked over to my left and saw this couple in the car, and I saw the man had this skeleton mask on, I thought he was about to rob the place. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, he's about to rob this store, and he sees me, and he sees me looking at him. He's going to get me first. The guy wasn't thinking about me. The couple wasn't thinking about me. But in my mind, this is all because of what just happened not too long ago. So I still decided to go ahead and go in the store. I said, Brianna, you're tripping. He's wearing a mask. We all got to wear masks. You got a mask on or whatever. So I go in the store, and I freaked out again in my mind when I saw him come in. You know, like, I'm not used to this whole mask situation, this whole pandemic. So I'm like, oh my God, he's in here. Like, I got to hurry up and get my stuff and try to make it out. Then I had to remind myself, Brianna, we are in a pandemic. We have to wear masks. Where are you going, baby? Where are you? Where are you going, pumpkin? Can you stop jumping, please? I had to remind myself, we are in a pandemic. And, okay, would you like to lay down? We have to wear these masks. So I'm like, okay. He's not about to rob us or anything. You know, he's doing what he got to do. So that's one thing. I went a couple of weeks later, I went to a carryout. 2 black guys together. Y'all would not get out that car to go into that carryout until they left. Not because I thought they would do something to me, but the last time I saw 2 guys, I was carjacked. And they were black. So now I'm starting to stereotype or, stereotype the people that's in my surroundings. You know, they weren't thinking 2 cents about me. But because of what happened to me on that Wednesday, being carjacked by those young guys, I'm like, I'm not going nowhere where it's 2 guys together. I don't even like, I've never liked driving side by side with another car, meaning window to window. I've never liked that. It's always intimidated me for whatever reason. I don't know, especially if your windows are tinted. If your windows are tinted and you're driving right next to my car, trying to drive window to window, I feel like you're trying to do something. So I've never liked that. So now imagine me already not liking that, and after my incidents, you do it. It was this white van, and I don't know what is up with the color white either. It was this white van that was driving beside me, and it was these guys in the car. They weren't black. They were, I believe, Hispanic. And they kept trying to drive side by side. Y'all, I was freaking out. In my mind, I was freaking out. Outwardly, it looked like I was just driving. But in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, what they about to do? Excuse me. Why do they keep... I was like, why do they keep trying to drive right beside me? Like, what are they trying to do? Oh my God, they might got a gun in the car. They probably going to try to shoot me while I'm driving. That's where my mind goes now, every time. So the guys are driving, and the guy in the passenger seat just kept bending down and picking up something and bending down and picking up something. And I'm like, oh my God, like, he's putting bullets in his gun and he's about to shoot me. And finally, he lifts up to the window a bottle. So they were drinking and driving, like alcohol. And he lifts up to the window a bottle. And I was like, yo, this is not cool. Like, I cannot live like this. So I said all that to say, I've been dealing with it. Like, I thought I would be exempt from having the post-traumatic syndrome issue because nothing happened to me. Meaning no one harmed me. Nobody touched me. They just scared me. So I thought I would be okay and would not deal with the aftermath. I thought that it happened and I would be good, but I'm not. Like, and I'm going to say it. I go to a therapist weekly. and a psychiatrist monthly. I have no problem with it, saying it. Mental health is very important. I was going to them before this incident happened. I've been going to them since I've had JJ. But your mental health is important. And if I did not have my therapist or psychiatrist at this moment, I don't know where I would be mentally. I don't know. Like, I really deal with traumatic situations different than I believe a normal person should. But what is normal? I don't even know. So, I'm starting to process it now and get to a place where I'm comfortable about talking about it and dealing with it, and realizing that it's bringing up it's a stressor or a trigger to past situations that's happened in my life that were traumatic. So now I have to go back and not only deal with the trauma that this has caused, now I have to deal with the trauma it's awakened that has been lying dormant for a long time, and now it's a trigger. So some days I'm a little more moodier than I would be. Or some days I have less patience than I would. Not because anybody did anything, not because anybody said anything, but just because I'm dealing with all that I'm dealing with. On top of still having to come home and function as a normal person, as a mom, as a wife, as a student, as an entrepreneur, a business owner. I still have to be able to function in a bit of normalcy to keep going. So I have to sometimes push those moments to the back burner and focus on the task at hand, and then either I come back to it and deal with it later, or I forget about it for a while until something else triggers it. But those are the situations I wanted to talk to you all about. They were very traumatic for me, and I didn't realize it until recently that they were very traumatic, and that they have caused some things to really shake within me. Thank God for God. I thank God that I have always been a believer, and even in my darkest moments, I have always turned to Him. So I'm very grateful to know that the God I serve still looks out for me. Even when I feel so undeserving, even when I feel like, like you don't know. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, what tomorrow's going to bring, all that. Even when all that is happening, I still serve a mighty God. A God who's able to do above anything that I could imagine. Like, I was sitting the other day just thinking, did He change my countenance when the guy approached my car? Like, what changed? Because the guy was angry when he was approaching my car. And when he said, "Oh, I thought you was somebody else," he said it very very strong, but something had changed when he said it. Meaning his demeanor changed a little bit. I don't know who he was looking for or what he was about to do. All I know was he was about his business. And I thank God for whatever He did in that moment. Because I don't know. I don't know. It was like a bull seeing red. And that's all he saw. So I don't know what changed it, what caused him. All I know was God was with me. I don't know what kept the person from pulling the trigger the day they carjacked me. I don't know. Besides God. Why didn't they hurt me? I think about these things. Because not a lot of people walk away from these situations unharmed, I should say. Some people walk away from it, but they're harmed. I was not touched. I wasn't touched. I wasn't shot. I wasn't hurt. Nothing. The only thing that was hurt was my feelings. It messed with my mental state. I wasn't physically harmed in any type of way. You can't tell me that wasn't God. And now I have to go through the process of getting back to a place where I can feel normal when I get in the car. When I'm in the car with people, I'm okay. But when I'm by myself, so much has, and I guess I can say this, so much has happened to me in cars that at this point, everything's a trigger. I've had tires blow on me while driving. I've had batteries die on me, leaving me stranded in places I have no idea. You know, I've been in multiple accidents. One accident that should have left me more damaged and hurt than I was. That should have left both parties hurt and damaged, but we walked away fine. A little bruised up, but it was okay. So I've been experiencing for the last, and I'm going to say it's been a 4-year time frame that I've experienced so much happening in cars that soon as I drive over a bump at this point, I start tripping out because I'm like, oh my God, is my car about to blow up? Oh my God, is my tire about to blow? What's going on? Why is it shaking? Why is it? And it could just be the road. I can't be parked and somebody walk past me. Because the moment somebody walks past me, I'm jumping because I'm thinking you're about to come and attack me, or you're about to come and rob me, or whatever the case is. So that's what I've been dealing with for the last 3 months. And at first, when it first happened, I didn't want anybody to say anything or, you know, tell anybody, because I didn't want people coming back feeling pity or asking me 1,000,001 questions, because I was already asked so many questions, and some that were not appropriate at the time, and it made me feel a certain way. So I didn't want other people, outsiders, coming in and, you know, trying to figure out what's going on. And I understand it would have been out of the sincerity of each person's heart to make sure I was okay, but I didn't want that. I didn't want people calling and saying, Bree, you okay? And, you know, what happened? But I'm not finna tell you this story 100 times. Y'all can take this tape or this recording and watch it 1,000,000 times to receive whatever answers you need. But I'm not going to repeat the story 101 times. Yes, I'm dealing with everything that is brought out. It's a process. But the main thing that is shown me, out of all my situations that I have gone through, God is still with me. Out of everything that happened to me from the age 5 and up, God's hand is still on my life. And I can't take that away from me. I am truly in the safety of God's arm. He hides me. And I believe both of those days he hid me. You know, you can form your weapons. You can bring them to the battle. You can even fire them, but they won't prosper. Not when you're a child of God. But I also kind of questioning God. I was like, and I'm just being honest and sitting here just talking to you all, being very transparent. I asked God, I mean, Dad, was it something I said? Was it something I did that I needed you to prove a point? Did I doubt you? You know, what did I do? What did I do that caused this to happen? You know, because I'm trying to figure out if it was my fault. You know, did I say, oh, I wish I was, did I wish I was dead? Did I say I want to die? Because were you showing me that it can happen? And, you know, not to be, you know, I was searching within myself what I could have done to have provoked this to happen. But it was all out of my hands. The only answer I really received was that I'm in his safety. So, devil, you gave it your best shot. But my God wins again. So, that's what I wanted to share with you all. If you have questions or comments, put them in the comment box below. I will definitely respond to all of them. I thank you for allowing me to be transparent and to share this with you all. And just a word of encouragement for those who are dealing with anything traumatic, or who have experienced something similar. If you don't know God, get to know him now for yourself, especially during this pandemic. These are perilous times. People aren't waiting for it to get dark and do it in the dark anymore. They're doing it in broad daylight. They're doing it out wide in the open, even with people around. They don't care. People are getting crazy, you know, and getting more creative every day, or sloppy. And I say, get to know God for yourself. If you aren't saved and you want to be saved, confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ died and he rose again just for you. Believe it in your heart. And then begin to do the work for your soul salvation. If you need guidance or anything, hit me up. I got resources to help you with your journey. I can be a resource. I can help you with your journey into Christianity. Because in this day and time, you're going to need God. You're going to need to believe in something and someone. So, if you don't get anything else out of this video, if you don't get anything else out of this video, I want you to understand that I serve an amazing God. I am covered by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. My life is in his hands. And I know for myself that he watches out for me every time. And I'm telling you this not because of something someone told me, but because of what I know and what I've experienced. from the age of 5 until now, I'm telling you, in my 27 years of life, I've experienced a lot of things. I've gone through a lot of things. And I know that because of this journey that I'm on, this Christian journey, that I'm not finished going through and coming out. But I have stories. I have experiences that I can talk to you about and pretty much walk you through that will be my life. I don't even know what to say, y'all. Like, because my life is a testimony in itself. My life. I have my life. My life is its own testimony. That God is real. God is real. And if you don't know him, get to know him now. We don't have time to play anymore. Time is winding up. Quickly. Time is winding up quickly. We don't have time to play church. We don't even have churches to go to at this point. Because of the pandemic, we can't go into everybody's churches. You better get in that word at home. You are the church. Study that word. Get to know God for yourself. Thank you for allowing me to share this with you all. Thank you for allowing me to be transparent, to be open, and to be honest. I am open to any comments, questions, or concerns, or even some of your stories. I'm open to them as well. You continue to be blessed.